Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, sorry, I'm a minute late, y'all. I, as you know, am going to college and I had a special meeting for my disabilities department. It didn't go as wonderful as I had hoped it would, but it went. So, yay. How is everybody doing? I hope you are well. I am struggling because I could not hear the music. Let me see. Oh,
Uh-oh.
that I heard. So I'm going to try and play something real quick. For some reason, I couldn't hear.
Was a reporter
Okay.
brutally murdered for...
Okay, so it was just in my StreamYard. I couldn't hear the music. That's unusual. So how is everybody doing this morning? I am blessed. I am happy. I am here. I can see you. I had to take everything apart. Do you know why? I now have 3 monitors. I'm excited. So, I wanted to talk just for a little bit. Good morning, Erica, Miss Morales, Sneaky Side, Haley Mouse, out and about with Diane, Paige. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to kind of give you my take. I've kind of held off a little bit about talking about this interesting character that we have called Mr. Tellis. He's a weird one. I'm going to give it to you. He's a little bit of cray cray. And I'm going to try and get used to having this over here. I didn't realize I had it in the storeroom. I remember now that I bought 3, one a little larger, 2 a little smaller, but I didn't have the connections for 3. And well, I was cleaning it out and I found it and I went, "Oh my god, I got it. Yay." So, I set it up. Yeah, everything's looking great. I'm really starting to like having this. This is going to be nice, especially in school. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about Mr. Tellis and why the pro se and all this kind of stuff. So, we're going to chat until court comes in about another 45 minutes. This has been a very interesting character for me. I've kind of held quiet my opinions of him because I don't like to influence all of y'all. I rather hear your opinions. But today we're going to talk about mine. Hi, Andrell. How is my sound? Is it loud? Is it comfortable? My bar shows it's comfortable. So, first of all, he's a narcissistic a-hole. I'm not going to pull any punches here. He's narcissistic as you can get. And on one hand, he's sitting there looking at the jury, speaking to them as if he's like this, having a cup of coffee at the table. By the way, I forgot my coffee. I'll get it in a minute. He's looking at them. He is kind of being kind of like I'm the professional here. And this, why in his narrative did he even talk about probate? We didn't need a lecture in probate. What we want to hear is, did you do this? Honey boo, we're not your college students. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to say to him when he started that. And I'm sure he lost the jury and everybody else. Um, where is my clip? Yep, in the other room. So, um, then I don't know if yeah, I remember seeing this. He stood up and spoke to the judge as if he was an attorney representing a client, trying to direct and control the proceedings. I was all like, I love this phrase, honey boo boo, you ain't the lawyer, you're the client. Sit down and shut up. I was like, hmm. And then I started watching his other behaviors, and this man has a control issue. And we'll speak more about that later. By the way, a couple years ago, I mean, I watched some of his other hearings when he was in prison garb and shackled. I need my coffee. And one of the things I noticed in those proceedings is he pronounced his last name, Tellis. But if you notice when he got on the stand, it was Tess. I'm like, Tess or Tellis? Tejes would be Thhes in English or Tejjs in Spanish. So, why are you now in trial switching the pronouncement of your name? That kind of stung me a little bit when I saw that. I was kind of like, what? Nobody does that. It's like your name being Jean and trying to say gente. I don't know. That kind of rubbed me raw. But it just shows a little bit about his character. Um the Tellus's narrative, I was like, why would you want to be a narrative instead of a question? The shoe lifts doll. We did not see the lift in the shoe. He showed the side of the shoe. But if you're going to, well, I'm not going to take my shoe off, but if you're going to sit here and show me the shoe and there's a lift, you're going to turn it and show me the lift. You're not going to keep it on the side view and say, see, inside here is a lift. These are special made shoes. That's bullcrap. I mean, who cares if he ever wore tennis shoes to the workplace? He's wearing them to the gym. That very same shoe is being worn to the gym. His name is pronounced Tejas because of the double L, but when it becomes a politician, he started saying Tellus. Thank you, Haley Mouse. Thank you very much. But why are you consistent with Tellus and then in front of the jury say Tellus or Tejas, whichever? It's the attitude that bothers me. Not so much that there's a change in the name, but the attitude. And if he would have explained that, and Haley Mouse, thank you so much. If he would have explained that, then people like me would have understood. If anyone has watched Keeping Up with Appearances, it is difference between the last name Bucket and Bouquet, still spelled Bucket. Okay, so I may be wrong on that. His lawyer didn't want to lose their license when asking him because, yeah, exactly. So my whole point though is if you're going to make that distinction, the flippantness in which he did it is what unnerved me more than anything. It's okay if you pronounce your name, it's spelled one way and you pronounce it different, and fine, you can be consistent with it. It's just frustrating. It was an oh yes, yes. Mhm. Exactly. So why would you do a narrative? Because you want to be in control of that narrative in the trial and you want to be controlled about what your asker said. No attorney would ever put their client on the stand knowing that they were going to lie. That would be participating in perjury. And yes, their license could be revoked. It is critical that they are careful not to walk into a place of perjury during trial. I feel like the attorney kind of has given up, allowing Tellis to do whatever he wants. I feel like the attorney's kind of like, fine, I throw in the towel, I surrender, you do what you want. I'm not going to get up there and risk my license for you. And at one point, it was reported. This is funny. I heard a gossip rumor that she was talking about it on a video. She's not a lawyer, but a great content. Oh, at one point in this, at one point in the trial, it was off. It was not shown on a camera because it didn't catch it, but it's going around. And a person in the courtroom said at one point during the testimony, excuse me, there was a sidebar and his attorney was dealing with something on the sidebar and Teller stood up shaking his head no. And his attorney just looked at him and Tellis just sat his butt down. Even then, Tellis is trying to control the situation. His controlling need to control everything. And I gotta be honest, I couldn't be married to him. But in his need to control everything is what's going to put him under. Something else he talked about and said that really stuck with me is his self image. I am not that kind of person. When he said that, um, we all say, "Oh, I'm not that kind of person to do that." I get it. But at the same time, you're up on the stand under oath and, fighting for your life. And you sit there and say, well, okay, let's talk about it. Tella said that on one degree or another, he's not that kind of person. He said it multiple times. He also said, I would never break the law. I uphold the law. I see this image of him as I actually, when he said that, I actually saw this little image of him of a little boy. It's kind of like you're standing in front of your grandmother, right? Or your mother. We'll say your mother. And you say, you're standing in front of your mother and you say, look, mommy, I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. That is kind of how I saw this, honestly. Hell, want to give closing so he can say I didn't do it. Yeah. And trying to convince himself and others that he is not capable of such horrendous acts. Yet he already perjured himself. He had an affair on his wife with a woman at work. He admitted to taking bribes he admitted in 2019 he was open to taking bribes. And he has an arrest for domestic violence for trying to choke his wife. I'm like, what? But he couldn't do murder? I mean, true, there's people who do all those things all the time and don't murder themselves. Hold on one second. You're exactly right on that, Kilo. You are so right on that. Why can I not hear myself? Oh, I got to pair my hearing aids again. He thinks he's still a practicing attorney, and he's not. He's absolutely not an attorney anymore. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, they've been suspended since October of 22. Miss Trial, you don't have to join. I do have a 99 a month membership, but you do not have to join. I fully understand, and maybe someone will gift a membership and you'll get it. Well, I pray for your husband. Really, I do, Ms. Trial, but thank you for hopping on. So let's get back to this. He keeps saying that he couldn't do this, but he's committed other crimes, and that is so frustrating to me. You can't sit there, well, you can, but you don't want to sit there in front of a jury and say, I'm not capable of breaking the law, but yet you kind of sort of already did. I'm like, are you kidding me? You have broken the law. You sit there and try to choke your wife. Now that's the other thing. DV. I struggle with the fact that he is sitting here saying he couldn't do certain things, but yet on the other hand, um, how many times does it take for someone to DV their spouse before they call the police? You know it's been going on for some time. It was not the first time that a person has gone through what they've gone through and not call the police until it gets to the point that it's so bad that they have to call. Does that make sense? I mean, it's like, let's talk about this for a split second. The first one or two times that somebody does something that's DV, a lot of times they make up, they move through it, but it escalates and escalates and escalates. And it escalated to the point that she felt her life was in danger and she had to call the police. How many times had he done something before? This I could not imagine that being the very first incident that he ever laid a hand on her, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but, you know, he's the breadwinner, she's got kids, they've got mortgage. I found out that at another state, he had 5 rental houses. That's a lot of money that they owe on, and without his income, she's gonna be homeless. And as a wife who's been in that, not in a position of DV, but understanding my sole support was my husband. I stayed home, took care of the kids, took care of the house, took care of him, but he was the breadwinner in the family. And if he wasn't working, we weren't living. And so I could understand where a woman may not call, when things get a little bit out of control with some DV. But when you have a man who's a politician sitting in front of you and you're on the jury and he says, I could never do that. I'm a good boy. I don't break the law. I uphold the law. But yet, but yet, you're sitting here telling me that you were open for by beloved. Hey, we got to do lunch this week. Awesome. He admitted that in 2019 he was open for bribes. You're right, Miss Andrielle. It very rarely starts with physical, but most of the yeah. But the point is that I don't believe it was the first incident in their home at all. Hi, baby girl. Um, the defense somehow were able to keep the DV out of it. And how was that? Oh, I got the itch. And how did they? I'm scratching my dog while I talk to you. And how did they do that? Well, because it was dismissed. How did he get it dismissed? I don't know. The other thing that I was listening to when I rewatched, and I just was kind of like, I believe is not the same as I didn't. But I believe in the judicial system, or I was like, dude, we want to hear from you where you were, what you were doing, what is your alibi, and that you didn't do it. That's all we care about. All this other stuff is useless. And if you're an innocent person, I would never, well, I can't say that. I don't think I would say I believe or I didn't do. I would be doing, I'm innocent. I am not guilty. There's just word plays there that just kind of stuck with me. I don't know. Once again, it's my humble opinion. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I've listened to a lot of testimony. I have been in court. I have testified. Exactly. Smoke and mirrors. And and when you're sitting there, I don't think I can recall anyone who's ever testified and spoke the combination of words that he spoke. It's the way he's phrasing things. It's how all of his things are coming together that bother me. And he goes, "I'm not the kind of person." It it just sounds like he's trying to convince them and himself. I don't know how to put that any better than that. I mean, I feel like he's trying to be convincing. Well, now that's not gonna stay there, is it? Okay, maybe that will stay. Now that's too high. I gotta get a new mount. It's not holding the way I need it to, so we're just gonna have to accept it where it is. But it's almost like it's almost like he's trying to convince himself that he didn't do something, and to me, that's a telltale sign that there's guilt there. One of the other things that I, noticed is, how do I put this? Let's talk about this. I have to be careful with what I say, but I know somebody who's been proven guilty of a crime, and they swear they're innocent to everybody and their brother. And they took a lie detector test and supposedly came out non-deceptive. Then a psychologist told me this once, and my ding, 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 ding went off in my head. If you believe the lie, then it becomes truth to you. And then to you, you're telling the truth. So you're not going to be caught on the lie detector test. Yeah, his facial expressions are also, he doesn't have a poker face. This hat is driving me crazy. I got makeup on it. Dag nabbit. Okay. So I think he's trying to believe his lie. First of all, I really do. I think he's trying to believe his own lie. And in doing so, trying to convince the jury that he's not lying. That is very, 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 that to me is telling me that he's trying to believe the lie. The way he's presenting, I'm not putting this as very good English wise. I sorry if it was ASL, it'd be a whole lot better. Um, but is by saying, "I'm not the kind of person who would do this. I'm not the kind of person who would do that. I am not capable of this. I am a law-abiding citizen. I am one who is a lawyer, and I sworn an oath and all of this." It's easier to seem truthful if you're not telling a direct lie. Yep, exactly. And, one of the things that really stood out to me was he's looking at all of these photos, right? Supposedly for the first time in court of the victim, both the crime scene and the autopsy photos. Right now, we didn't get to. Oh, Zach, thank you. Ah, welcome, Zach. Love you. Thanks a bunch. The the thing I have never seen anyone look at gruesome photos. I mean, we're talking gruesome photos, right? And he's like, no emotion. I have seen some of the most gruesome stuff in this world. Now, I'm sure there's stuff out there I haven't seen, but I've seen body dismemberment. I've seen it, right? It gets me. I don't necessarily cry, but there's an expression of, whoa, really? You know what I mean? There is a reaction, and it's one that if it's the first time you see some of this stuff, you don't hide. You can't hide. He had, if you there and you see it, you desensitize yourself to it, then I can see where you can sit there and have no emotion. But for him to sit there and be emotionless, stone faced, non reactive in a normal way, that concerns me a whole lot. That really, really did. And it's too dark in here. I can't read my own writing here. I'm sorry, I have to put the flashlight on. um, but yet, when he is sitting there on the stand, sitting there, and he says, "Look what they did to me. They destroyed my house." He had real tears from courtroom people who were in there. He had real tears. I'm like, "What? You're crying over a tossed house when a man lost his life and you're on trial for it? And all you want to share is you spent all that time showing the evidence of your home on how they tossed it? Dude, now you know what it's like when a burglar comes in or there's a hurricane." I was like, everyone I've seen do that are the ones plead not guilty when I think they're guilty. There are some parallels between Tellis and Boone, definitely so. But one thing I thought when I saw him, he's got a little OCD. And I saw another show that touched on this, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. And I want to share this. Now, it's, I thought it too, but they voiced it and I didn't. I think he's got some serious OCD there and other issues because he was so worried about the condition of his home that it got him emotional just to see it. And why would you go back to the scene of a crime if you are a professional? He claims that this is a professional hit and he's being framed. Well, if you are a professional, number one, you don't wear clothing that make you stand out. Number two, you don't drive your own vehicle. Number three, you don't return to the crime of the scene. If you are OCD, it's like you turn off your oven at home, you know it's off, you leave the house, and then you go, oh, shoot, is it really off? I got to go back and check. So, say if he's guilty and he did this and he thinks he ended the life, and then he drives away and goes, oh no, what if he's not really? What if he's still alive? I got to go back and check. I can't let this go. I got to go back and check. So he goes back to check to make sure that this guy isn't standing up when he drives by. It's, yeah, this guy has got some issues in that department. Definitely has some major issues in that department. And one of the comments that he made concerning all this that really got to me was something along the lines of something this breaking me. I'm like, so it didn't bother you that this man was killed and that you are watching and looking at all of these photos. You're looking at all these photos of a deceased victim mutilated, right? This was brutal. And that doesn't phase you, but what breaks you is the fact that your house was tossed. Not that they found evidence in your home, not that a family has lost a loved one, not that your children and wife may be, dragged into any of this. What breaks you and what you cry about is a home that's not organized and clean. What? I was like, that really got me. I actually started wondering if he tried to make it look like he was framed by leaving evidence in his home. I would be sick if I saw those photos. Yeah. I mean, even as desensitized as I am to that kind of stuff, it would make me uncomfortable. I mean, it still does. I mean, I don't get physically sick anymore. I've kind of been desensitized to it, but I'm not going to behave like him. And if I'm getting up on the stand doing a narration and it's me on trial, I'm not going to be bitching and pissing and moaning. Yes, I said it over the fact that my house was tossed. And then he says after that, oh my, between the house and my family and them and all of that, I had to self-harm. I'm like, really? You're blaming the need to self-harm over that instead of the possible guilt of ending someone's life and destroying your own and your family's? Hi, Josh. Oh, I'm sorry. You and my son. Feel better soon, Josh. Seriously, feel better soon. We've got some new people in the house. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, love, and subscribe. We appreciate you. And the other thing he was upset about was the searching of his vehicle. Once again, someone touching his clean vehicle upset him. And this was done prior to them finding his shoes. Y'all, please give me a break. I don't understand this. Well, I do. He washed all 3 vehicles. Now well, we all wash our cars. Well, that's right. Insurance does not pay for self-unaliving, so that was a bunch of crap. The only way I could see someone doing what he did was if he actually did the crime. He knew he was guilty. He knew he was gonna get arrested. So he did this to, um, keep himself from going to prison, okay? And it didn't work. Okay, fine, it didn't work. But y'all, I'm not believing him in the least. Um, yeah, I think I've talked about all that. Let's see. I want to talk about this professional hit scenario. I am like, dude, you're a lawyer. I don't care if you are a probate lawyer. I don't care. You went to law school. You know how all this works. None of this is new to you. So why are you bringing up a professional hit when you know darn well that's not going to fly? Yeah, it was comical almost, but someone said there were real tears. And okay, that tells me right there that yeah, you definitely have issues. I believe that he's got more than one issue. I believe that there's definitely some narcissistic behavior. There's definitely some borderline personality behavior. Now, I'm not diagnosing, not labeling. I'm just saying there's some evidence of. Doesn't mean he is. I am not a licensed therapist, nor do I wish to be one anymore. But the theory of a professional hit, he makes himself out to be such an important part of politician. How many people, including myself, know much about the office in which he held? He's not the mayor, he's not the governor, he's not, I mean, city council, yeah, that's kind of a politician-y thing to do, but in reality, he's not a governor, he's not a representative, he's not a senator, he's not somebody high up that um, he would ever have to think about somebody saying hiring a hitman. Um, I don't understand where he gets this persona that he is such a I'm a politician, and he threw it around when he got arrested. I'm like, for the first time with his ex-wife, I believe. Um, dude, pride comes before a fall, and when you put yourself on a pedestal, you're gonna fall. If someone else puts you on a pedestal, you're gonna fall. The moment you put yourself or anybody puts you, I'm taking off my plastic from my monitor. Um, you know, pride comes before a fall, and that's exactly where he is. He is so dang prideful, so self-centered, so obnoxious, and believes that nobody can do it better than him, that it's gonna send him to prison. And he unalived somebody. I'm like, "Really?" I had a very short evening, very short evening. So, when the assistant DA did her opening statements, and I believe she hit the nail on the freaking head. I wish I had time to play it, but I don't. But she hit the nail on the head. And I was absolutely beyond convinced if that's all I had to go on. Does that make sense? If all I had to go on, you guys, we've done 50,000 views. Oh my God. Oh my, oh my, we've done 50,000 views. That is astonishing. I can't believe we've done 50,000 views. Oh my God. Yay. Oh, that is awesome. I love seeing those little awards. It is amazing. Um, so I am really, really hoping that this does not turn out to be another hung jury. But I will say that um, that it was such a good opening that I cannot believe that the jury could get past that opening with the evidence that they have exhibited. The evidence that was given and how all that is done and how he's behaved versus the prosecution and what they have done. I cannot imagine them. Uh, I can't imagine them not getting a guilty in this case. The evidence is well overwhelming, and that is interesting. Um, the Ocean Gate, there is a new lawsuit out, $50 million with the Ocean Gate. So we may go through that one day. We don't have trial. Metal red first red. What? Metal yellow first red. Evidence that he said was planted in order to frame him as unreal. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. The car is an issue for me because, well, not an issue for the state, but for him. It is too perfect of a match of a vehicle. Dude, if I'm going to do something like this, I'm going to slap a magnetic bumper stickers all over the back of it. I'm going to disguise it. My nose is itching. I wore my CPAP last night and it's itching. And all of that. I'm going to do something to disguise my car. If I'm going to plan a murder, I'm going to stop somewhere in the middle of a field, slap a bunch of magnetic stickers all over it. I'm going to throw mud all over it. I'm going to do something, right? Then the shoes in under the couch that were being cut up is bad. The hat is bad. But what's worse is you cannot refute the fact that there was blood under the fingernail of the victim. Dude, what the heck is your problem? You have got blood under your freaking fingernail of the victim. How in the blasted what? How can you sit there and tell me that you uh, I don't know how you can get past it. I'm sorry. I don't know how you get past this. I don't. The blood under the fingernails. How do you get past that? Anybody have any ideas? Because I sure don't. I'm trying to redirect this. Um, Customization. Okay. It just does not compute to me at all. And I am struggling with that evidence, but yet it's okay for you. See, if you're up there and I'm sitting here and you're up on the stand and I'm in the jury and you're trying to convince me that, hey, I didn't do this. You're going to hit every one of those evidence. You had 2 years plus, 2+ years you have had to set this all up, sitting in your jail cell. I've got it linked where it should automatically port you over. Yeah, and the photos on the phone. You've had 2 years in a jail cell already. You've had 2 years to work on your closing. You've had 2 years to map out the entire case as a lawyer, with a lawyer. Well, he was pro se first, but and you're telling me this narrative that you gave us? It was like you didn't even think about it. You just walked up there and flew by the seat of your pants. Give me dates, times, throw up the evidence. Explain to me how this evidence isn't yours. Show me, give me another theory. Tell me how you did or didn't do this. Where were you? Have we even heard where he was supposedly during the time of the murder? I mean, it doesn't stick out in my head. You're going to hammer home your alibi. You're going to bring witnesses in to stand and fight for you. You're going to sit there and tell me time and time again, I'm not guilty. I didn't do this. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm not guilty. I'm innocent. I help people. I I was over here. That's not my shoe because of what? But he and his lawyers know there's just too much evidence against him, and this is a Hail Mary. Yeah, that was damning. Definitely. One time when I was 5, yeah. Yeah. Taking a walk. Okay. Hi, Miss Kevin. If you're taking a freaking walk, give me the path, the time, where you were, the path, what you were wearing. There's are there if you're walking around neighborhoods, there's going to be cameras that get you. So if you didn't do it, you're going to be presenting that. Instead, you gave us a lecture and a kind of like a TED talk on probate law. You've done nothing but talk about how everybody that there's a professional who did it, not you. You talked about how horrible it was with your home and how it devastated you. Nothing about the victim. Hey, this poor guy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to him. I didn't do it. Yes, I didn't like him. I didn't like what he said. I didn't like what he did, but I'm not one to take someone's life. He did not do any of that. So I want to know how long is it going to take for them to come back with a guilty verdict? I normally don't put it out there like I am right now that he's guilty. Yes, or he does Uncle Fester. Yeah. I'm not putting it out there that he's guilty because I normally don't say that at this point. But with this guy, he's guilty. With this guy, he's guilty in my eyes. I cannot see any way he's not guilty. I can't. Hey, Texas brother, how y'all doing? Hey, Miss Kevin, good to see you again. I'm glad y'all had a great trip. The computer search he made for or didn't make for chicken fried rice when he claimed he made them. Yeah. And do you think the jury knows him narrating means he's lying or and his lawyer wouldn't help him lie? Um, yeah, that's a hard one. It depends on the knowledge, I guess, of the jurors on this situation. Someone who has some criminal law background or people like us, yeah, we'd recognize it. I bet you're tired. Yep. Do you know what? I love going on vacation. I'm sorry. These make my ear itch tremendously. Coming back from a vacation is more work than going on it, I think. It's the worst part of it for me is all the laundry and all the mess. So anyway, we are going to portal over in a minute. I'm going to have to get me a cup of coffee, y'all. I haven't had coffee yet. And I've been up since 6:30, so it's been a lot. So I try very hard not to put a lot of my opinion in because I want your opinion. I don't want to persuade someone to be one way or the other, but where we are with this case, I think everybody's been on the same page. I can't find a single person, and if you're in my audience, even if you're not commenting, if you believe he's innocent, just say innocent. Just comment so we know. But I can't find anybody who thinks he's innocent except for himself. And for your lawyer to throw his hands up and say, just do a narrative, fine. I don't care. Less, I don't have to work so hard. I don't have to prep. I don't have to prepare questions. I don't have to worry about cross examination or redirect. I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to sit here and let you make a fool of yourself. That's where we are. Totally exhausting. Yep. It can be. So, anyway, oh my gosh, I need coffee so bad. I need coffee, like, seriously bad. Who called me? My son. So, that's where I stand. I think that, number 1, he's gonna have a horrible prison life, unless he finds some humiliation. There's no humility in this man. None. I think he tried to be humble, but it didn't last long. And I think that, um, attempt to be humble was for the jury's sake. The whole law tube community knows he's guilty, even his lawyer. Everybody knows he's guilty. If this is a setup, I pity the poor fool because he ruined it for himself, but I can't imagine this being a setup. I think he was upset and angry and mortified at what this guy was doing. Creepy he is. Hi, Christiane. How are you? This guy is definitely creepy. Um, he couldn't take it anymore. He lost the election mostly or largely in part of the articles and the evidence that came out that there was a DV situation. He definitely struggled with some things, and I think he snapped. He's crying over seeing his house turned upside down by the down and a preview of how he will react if guilty. That is gonna be interesting, mistrial. That is gonna be interesting on how is he gonna react when the G comes out of the mouth of the court, and then life. I cannot imagine him not getting the maximum. It's bad enough you commit a crime. To me, it's worse when you do not humble yourself at some point. He was too afraid to unalive himself. He did just enough for his coworker. Yep, exactly. Okay, guys, we're going to portal over to the other stream. The reason is the court has already put up their feed, and I want to make sure we do not miss out. Come on, mouse, where are you? I've got 3 monitors as of yesterday, and it's a little bit confusing when you're not used to having all 3 monitors. I will be totally honest with you. I'm excited. No, is this is no KR he has bad. Yep. 1 hour less or however long it takes to fill out the verdict will be. Yep, exactly. Exactly. So, guys, I'm gonna portal over to the other one. I want you guys y'all, we have 24 of you on today. Please hop over. Please, please remember to hit the like button before we go. Hi, Pom Mom. You would bless me if all of you I wouldn't mind working with the 4th, but I gotta figure out how to do 3. What do you do for a living, Miss Trial? Y'all, let's hop on over. I'm going live in a few seconds as soon as I can get everything geared up. And I don't know, I couldn't hear the music earlier. Oh, I hear it now. Wonderful. Okay. In 3, 2, I thank you guys so much.